All right, we should be live, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is just now 11 a.m. We're on day 2 of Boss Up and List, our 3-day virtual listing party. So again, as usual, please let us know that you can hear everybody okay, that you can see us all. And we actually have 2 special guests with us today. But first, I just want to say thanks for being here. Looks like we've got a few people in here for the start, so I'm happy to see everybody. We've been, we're about 2 hours into today's listing challenge. I've got 5 whole listings done, but my goal today is to get like about 30. So I hope everybody else is doing well, and good to be here and taking a little break with you guys. All right, so let me introduce our guests. You should know, some of you will know both of them. Some of you may know one, I don't know, but we'll see. We have with us today Lorna Thompson and Kristine, is it Bonanno?
Bonanno.
Bonanno? So you don't pronounce the U, it's just there to throw people off?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves, give us a little bit of info about basically like how long have you been selling on eBay, what kind of stuff do you sell, how many listings do you have, that kind of thing. Lorna, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So I'm Lorna Thompson. Some of you may know me from Facebook groups. And I've been selling for a little over 6 years now. I have active listings over 4,000, almost 4,000. Yeah, but I am doing a whole new different business model, and I've been taking listings down and taking them away, but replacing those listings with listings that are worth its time there. So a lot of work there. But yeah. So 6 years, 4,300 listings.
And what kind of stuff do you sell?
Similar to Vicky, I'm anything and everything, really. I love women's clothes, and I love finding like vintage linens and stuff, like character sheets, and I love books. I love it all, so I sell it all.
Okay, and where, I didn't catch if you said where you're located. You're in Washington, but where are you in Washington?
Very, very up north on the peninsula in a very small little town called Squim.
It's a cute, tiny little town called Squim.
It is. It's very tiny.
All right, Kristine, how about you? What's up? What's happening? Tell us your story.
I've been on eBay actually since 1999, when it pretty much first started. I was a hobby seller. About 3 years ago, my mom took ill. We upped and moved from New Jersey up to the Hudson Valley in New York. At that time, it was just not conducive to drive back and forth and sales, so I decided to up my eBay game and turn it to a full-time business. It has grown exponentially. Basically, it's grown since eBay opened. I just left eBay open, charged up. It was one of the best experiences of my life. At that time, I only had about 450 listings. I came home determined to grow this business and do the best I can. I now currently have about 1,730 listings.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep, in that short period of time. I met Theresa Cox. As you all know, she flew in. Been doing a lot of trial and error in different things of sourcing. And just working through. I was primarily a menswear seller, and I have since then expanded to the other categories. I'm trying to zero in on like 2 or 3 categories. I've added in women's, and I've added in like the collectible aspect.
Yeah, and I did a video with Theresa like a week ago or so, and she told a story about a woman who wanted to go to eBay Open, but was a little bit nervous about going somewhere on her own where she didn't know anybody. And that woman was you, wasn't it, Kristine?
Yes, it was. And the irony is that I'm not shy. I could talk to anyone. I could be the life of the party, but to get on a plane, end up in the airport, and have to go from the airport to the hotel all by myself, I was the big baby. I actually stood under the Uber sign waiting for the Uber to come pick me up because I didn't take my phone off of airplane mode, and I flagged someone down. But at the end, I did it, and it was the best experience of my life.
Yeah, so for any of you guys who are like considering going to Open, or you're not sure, or you're nervous about it, or you're not sure what it can do for your business, I think Kristine's story is a really good example of how it can really change everything. And like you said you started out with, you had like 400 listings when you went last year.
Yes.
Yeah, and now you're past me. Like I just hit 1,600 for the first time, so you've already got over 1,700. Like that is awesome. So you've clearly been hustling it like crazy. So I guess my next question I want to ask both of you guys is, what would you say your biggest goal for your businesses for this year? So Lorna, you were just talking about you're going in a different direction. Can you go into that a little more? Is that like kind of your biggest goal for the next year?
Yeah, so I have been documenting my journey for this, but I have been cleaning and organizing nearly 5,000 items because I do sell multi-quantity as well. So I was using baker boxes and just shoving things in, and I never really used the custom label field, which I don't know why I never did. And so now I am going through every single item, a couple of boxes at a time, and putting them into bins, all nicely folded. And I'm using the bins that you use, but the 12 gallons, so it's easier for me to lift. And we got some shelving, and I've got 20 bins done. So I'm a little over 1,000 items organized now, and it's so nice. But as I'm going through, I'm getting rid of stuff. I'm like, if it's not worth being there for $15 or more in profit, I'm trying to get rid of it. So every week we go to Goodwill or the thrift shop, and we're donating stuff because I'm just getting rid of all of that lower end items. And if it happens to sell while I'm going through all the stuff, great. I'll happy to ship it off, but I'm only on team, so it's a very slow process. 10, 15 items off a day. So I'm aiming for kind of a higher sell price.
And so do you know what your average sale price is right now?
Like right now? Yeah. So I've been holding on to $28, which is good for me right now because I used to sell so much quantity, low priced items. So in November, it switched to 28, and then it went to 30, and now I'm kind of in between 28 and 30 now. But it used to be 21. So I'm getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in work smarter, not harder, and going for the higher per item price average. But it is challenging, and especially when it comes to sourcing, which we will talk about more later. So, Kristine, what is your biggest goal for your store and your business over the next year?
Over the next year, I would hope to attain more virtual listers. When I came back from eBay Open, it was like I was starting back at square one. So I wanted to put almost like a business plan into place to see how I could scale the business. So basically, one of the first things was sourcing inventory on how to get quantity. So I did a test with a fundraising baseball team at the school where I had them do a clothing drive, and I bought the clothes outright for a certain dollar amount on the pound. So out of 12 kids, 3,000 pounds of clothes came in. So I had this enormous amount of clothes that I had to work through. And in the process, I was training people to be able to list and help me attack it. And comes with that kind of quantity as an inventory system where with that many clothes, you have to make sure that you're organized. So when Theresa was here, I had set up boxes. And I think I finally perfected an inventory system that I think is very easy to work with. It's very easy to copy. And if you'd like, I could share it with you.
Yeah, totally. So first of all, there's a couple of things in what you said that I think I want to get into a little bit more that I'm sure other people are going to be really curious about. We'll get to the inventory system in a little bit, but first of all, the fundraiser. Okay, so what you're telling me is that you got a bunch of kids to basically get people to donate clothing.
Correct.
They got all this clothing together, and then you paid for the clothing, and then your money was the fundraiser, and you got all the clothing for you to sell.
Correct. So
that's pretty genius.
Well, what I did was I have 20 years experiencing in fundraising. We moved to the Hudson Valley here from northern New Jersey, and the demographics are quite different. So when we got up here, when I was trying to fundraise, it was very difficult to come up with out of the box thinking. attractions to have it. So when I came up with this thing, I said, everybody cleans out their clothes, everybody cleans out their closets, seasonal, kids outgrow clothes, things you just have and you don't release. So when we sent this email out to the 12 kids, they also asked their grandparents and so on and so forth. 3,000 pounds of clothes. It was like the bins came to me.
That's crazy. And how much did you pay for it?
25 cents on the pound.
25 cents a pound. So it was under, what would that be, under $1,000?
I paid $837 for the clothes. I went through the clothes at the house. That was when Theresa came in to help me with this product, idea of sourcing and separating and, putting it in. It was just overwhelming. So basically what we ended up doing was we sorted the piles of what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to get rid of. We took the clothes that I wanted to get rid of to another person who actually buys clothes. They buy it for a little bit more than I paid. So the money that I was able to redeem brought my total investment down less than half.
Wow.
So what I have already listed, I have far surpassed the money that I spent and still have inventory plus. So I have about 3 other teams that want to do this fundraiser with me. But I just had to, I told them you have to hold off a little bit because I had to get a system into place where I can handle the clothes, scale it, process them, store them, and get going. And it's just been working out beautifully. The only negative to it is it has brought my average sale price down, where I'm a big coat seller as you are and as well as Theresa. So my average sale price was always around $38 to $48. Bringing in the other clothes has brought it down, but yet I've increased my volume by 4 times, like my numbers. So I'm doing really well.
Of that 3,000 pounds, how much of it was worth keeping to list in your store?
I think what I gave up was about 400 or 500 pounds of clothes.
Okay.
The rest were all, sectioned into different categories, seasonal, and I'm still listing it. So I'm in the process of opening a second store. I just opened up Savvy Soho Closet, where I think all the future fundraisers are going to be that way, because it's a no-brainer to do it. I mean, the pounds, penny by the pound places are what, $1.49, $1.89.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's not close to me. It would require going over the bridges, transporting it back and forth. It comes to me.
Yeah, that's super smart from a business point of view. And then you're also supporting whatever good cause you want to, whatever charity you want to team up with. We should definitely do a video in the future where we really just get into the details of this idea, because I think that's super awesome. People could do that anywhere and support whatever local charity or group that they want to. And again, it's a great way to get some inventory. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, you talked about virtual listers. So you use virtual listers now?
Yes, I actually have, one of my girlfriends is actually going to team up with me, and we're going to go in. I'm going to bring her in on the business side of it. On the Savvy Soho Plaza, we're going to actually become partners. Well, we are partners now. It was a local mom. She started doing listings for me, had no eBay experience. So one of the things that I had to do that was a challenge that I had to overcome was one of the things I really wanted eBay to do was almost have a virtual back office. So because they don't have that feature and I didn't want them to have the access to my financials, I went to InkFrog as a third-party lister. So it took me a little bit of time to work out the inventory system as well as, learn InkFrog, set up profiles, set up templates, so I could share it with the people that are now working with me. And we finally have gone over that hurdle, and it's working very nicely. And it ties in beautifully with the inventory system that I created. So basically, do you want me to talk about the inventory, what I did?
Yeah, let's get into it.
When Theresa was first here, I was just sporadically naming boxes by numbers, like I was doing an alpha system, AA, and then I would name the boxes by 1 or 2 or 3, and it was getting very confusing. So at the start of the new year in January, what I did was I basically started at week 52, and I count down. So every week is week 52. I set up a Dropbox folder, week 52. So whatever week product that I have forecasted to list for that week gets dubbed in a folder, and I call the folder week 52, and I do the dates. So that would be 12/31/2017, and I do week ending 01/06/18. And then the following week, I do it in the same format. But what happens is at any time, I know how old that merchandise is. So if it's week 49, I know it's in the beginning of first quarter. I know seasonally what kind of items are going to be in those boxes. And utilizing the Ink Frog system, one of the things that they have that is very good for me is you could filter and refine your searches a lot in that program. So if I'm looking to see what's in that box, what's left over, I could put in week 52 in my search field, and I will see what's still active and what's live and what is sold. So it's a good way where I can go in and then run a big sale on those particular items. So everything I own or everything in my system is all correlated. The photos are in Dropbox week 52, so that people know where to find the folders. They know where they land. It's just working out beautifully.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of a variation on the idea of like, I think what Theresa has, where it's the idea of you put, instead of putting like items together, you're putting it together by a certain time period.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than like, I have all my t-shirts in like 5 bins. So I do have to go through all of them in order to find the t-shirts that I've sold. So I know that I'm probably not doing it in the most efficient way.
Yeah, and I also did I do a dot system. So I set up on InkFrog different shipping profiles. So I basically mimic what Theresa does with her international shipping, and I have one additional tier that she doesn't have. So I do under 8 ounces, and then I do 8.1 to 1 pound, and then I do 1.1 to 2 pound, and I go all the way up to 4 pounds so I can do the international shipping charges at the appropriate rate. So what I've done is I dubbed the profile A through E, but I also assign a color dot, like a circle dot that you could buy. So as I go through the items, I weigh them, I put the appropriate color. So if shipping profile A is a red circle, that goes on the garment. So whoever's handling the garment knows that that's the shipping profile in InkFrog that you select. So everything all works out nicely.
Very smart. And I think, especially if you're trying to hire more people and stuff like that. Theresa says that her inventory system morphed from yours. So it sounds like she came to help you and then saw what a great idea it was and started doing things that way. So yeah, it's like, I think everybody has to like come up with a system that works for them. And it sounds like Lorna, you're in the middle of kind of perfecting your own system. Mm-hmm. But it makes it so much easier to like find stuff and ship it and do everything. A lot of time.
Last night was awesome. I went to go get all my items, 8 items, and it took me like 2 seconds to find everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was so awesome.
For sure. You know what I do, Lorna, with now that you're utilizing that SKU field, when I go to ship for the day, I print what's waiting in the shipment to ship folder. And if you utilize that SKU, it tells you your location when you're pulling all your merchandise. So you're not running back and forth.
I just use my phone. I know it's not, you can't see the SKU on your phone, but I just look at the computer real fast and I just, by memory, 8 items. And then I just look at my phone like, oh, that's the item. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody has their kind of own thing. Like Vicky, she actually prints out all of her packing slips. And so when she goes out to where the inventory is, she has the sheet that has like all the information on it for everything. I'm like Lorna, I use my phone. But the way I have my inventory set up, it's actually pretty fast. Like I can usually find, even if I'm having to pull like 30 items, it usually only takes me maybe like 15 minutes to get all of them pulled at once. So yeah, I think, but it is important, coming up with some sort of like inventory system that's going to work for you, and definitely paying attention to what some of these other sellers are doing to get some ideas and figure out what's going to work for you. I'm just, the way that my brain works, the way I operate, having like this really intense system like what you're setting up, Kristine, that like I wouldn't be able to like focus in and actually do that. But I don't have any intention on like hiring other people and having other people be able to use my system. And so I think it sounds like the way you have it set up, it's going to be a lot easier to train somebody to handle your merchandise and to have like a very specific system and color coding and dates and everything. It's going to make a lot of sense when you're hiring new people. How many people do you have working with you right now?
2.
And what is your goal? Like, what do you like envision? Let's say your 5-year plan. What in like if everything went the way you wanted it to, what do you envision your store, your business becoming?
Well, right now, what I would hope is that it would keep growing and scaling with the system and perfecting it, where it's needed. But it's kind of like the McDonald's theory. It's cookie cutter, and they don't deviate. You set your plan once it's working, and you stick, and it's consistent. So it's easy to train. People can train other people. Right now, I would hope that the fundraising and the availability to help the community and go back. One of the things that sparked from this is that I sit on the local board at one of the educational foundations on the school, their board, and I learned at the last meeting that any kind of garments, the lost and found, by law, they have to be out of the building within 6 weeks. So all of these items that are sitting there just get donated to a local, thrift store or a group that comes and picks them up. So one of the things that we want to do is pilot where the environmental teacher who's into sustainability wants to take those lost and found items, have kids work the business, and I will teach them eBay in the school, and I'll come and they're going to learn how to list. So it'll expand the millennials on the platform and teach them that when we're in college, you could do this little side hustle and make money when they're in school. And the organizations that help after school will be able to profit from the profits. So we're trying to teach it into an educational thing at the schools with sustainability.
That is super awesome. I come from a nonprofit background, so I love any time there's any way that you can like kind of blend your business with some sort of charity work or, and I love that you're looking at this as another way to scale up only in giving back. So I think that's really awesome. So Lorna, you've got something that you've been working on as well. And some of the people here, I don't know if we have anybody watching right now who's a part of your team, but you want to tell us about your, was it Team Rock, and like what it is that you have done with that? I mean, I know that this is basically, it's an exclusive group. It's a very, you keep it very limited as far as the size of this group. It's where, as you call it, not a group, a team. On Facebook, but I think it's something that people would love to hear about, like just what it is that you're doing, and maybe it's a model that somebody else might want to take and try and do on their own as well. But why don't you explain to us what you're doing with Team Rock?
So eBay Team Rock is, we are about 47 members right now. And my goal was to keep it under 50. Members come and go because sometimes it's not for everybody. What it is we support each other daily in our social media. So if someone is got an awesome item that they found and they put it on Instagram, and if they want to share it within because we do have a group for the team, they want to share it and say, hey, I need a little love and support on this. Please go like it, comment on it, just give it a little boost. So we're just supporting each other daily in our listings and a work environment. We have all these groups that we belong to, but they're so large. There's thousands of people in these groups. And with this, I wanted to keep it small so that we become like a little family, and we, just like 10, 15 minutes a day, check in with each other. Some people spend more time than 10, 15 minutes, but if we're having a bad day, we kind of lift each other's spirits up, and it's just a little place to support each other a little more one-on-one. So I got the idea because I used to be an Etsy captain of a team. I made a team over on Etsy. That's where I come from before eBay. And teams on Etsy are huge. There's so many teams on Etsy. And I decided I wanted to do that. And I had already created the page and had someone there kind of sitting there waiting there for a year for me to start. And it was just so busy. Life is so busy. And I was like, well, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? When am I going to start? And then I just kind of just said, whatever. Life was always going to be busy. We are busy eBay workers. We have so much going on in our lives. We're always listing and photoing and shipping, and we're just busy. Let's just do it. So I did, and it filled up, like the spots filled up within a day. Like I put it out there, and everybody was interested. And we've lost a few, here and there just because it wasn't for them. Social media is just not, because we really focus on social media.
I was on your team once.
Yeah, you were there for like a week.
I was there for a week, and then I ended up pulling myself out because I figured out pretty quickly that I just wasn't going to be able to put the time in to properly be a participating member of the group. So I think it's an awesome group, but like you said, it's not necessarily going to be for everyone. And once I realized that I wasn't going to be able to contribute like everyone else was contributing, I decided to pull myself out so that other people could take my spot. But I think it is a fantastic model. And like you said, Lorna, a lot of these groups have like social media sharing threads that they do even daily. But the idea of having like this close knit small team where you are all like being super supportive of each other and sharing each other's stuff. Have you had some of your members like talk about what kind of sales boosts they've gotten from this or how they think it's helped them?
A couple, I met Glenda. I saw her in Vegas when we were together last, and we talked, and she said that her sales have gone up significantly. And so that made me really happy. And everybody, it seems to really enjoy it. And when something sells, everyone gets excited and they'll put like sold, yay. And so it's real fun. But we have a team Twitter where we use to share items and stories. We do have a Facebook page that we share seller spotlights. So it's not about just like the whole team. It's about trying to shine a spotlight on each individual and share their story and how they got started and share their store and their social media handles. And we have a Instagram account as well. I am guilty. I run that one, and I haven't been running it as well as I do the Twitter because I love Twitter. That's like my thing, but I'm trying. It's a lot. And there's a lot of help too. One of the members stepped up and said, "Hey, I'll do the spotlights for you because we do Flashback Fridays where we show advice to new sellers from somebody else's story from previous months." So we do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, totally. And there, I have a link to the page for eBay Team Rock. So if you guys are interested in just seeing kind of like some of the stuff that that group is putting out and some of the sellers that are involved there, and you can get an idea of how it is, how they're working to like support each other and shine the spotlight on each other. And then when you start to see that something you want to be involved in, you can start like bugging Lorna and harassing her so that when somebody else drops off, maybe you might be able to get a spot on the team, or maybe you'll be inspired to start your own team, because I think it's really important that that we be involved in like these communities. I think that, being a member of a Facebook group is great. But some of them are really huge and some of them are smaller. And even having like these small relationships with smaller groups where you have a more close knit community is really important, all the way down to just having a buddy that you talk to regularly. Lauren and I are really good friends. And so we talk all the time. And I have a couple of other people where it's like, we're always talking about like what we're working on. And it's just a really good way to have support and to also have like kind of, added accountability to somebody else, because you're talking about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. And when we're doing this work by ourselves, sometimes it's hard to stay motivated. So that's part of what this whole listing party is about. So getting involved in all the different kinds of groups, I think, is huge to being successful in the work that we do. Let's see what people are saying over here. So it looks like somebody was asking about the printing out your, what was it? Printing out that custom field on your actual labels. And so Theresa has like a blog post that I'm going to be adding to the description here so you guys can see how you can do that. You can actually print it out on your actual label. Let's see. All right, there's a lot going on over there. So the next conversation I want to have with both of you guys is about sourcing. I know when we talk about things like raising your average sale price, some people can find the idea of that kind of daunting and a little challenging depending on where they live. And like we were talking about, Lorna, you live, let's see, how many people live in your town?
Close to 10,000.
Close to 10,000. It's huge. and
how close kids too?
How close is the biggest, how close is like the next city or town that you can get to?
We have on each side 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
So we have, yeah.
And then you're a few hours from Seattle?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the challenges of sourcing with a limited area that you're in?
Well, I'm extra special because I don't drive. I just don't. I hate
so you like to make it harder for yourself?
Yep, I just don't drive. So I have one Goodwill in my town and one small little Serenity shop, thrift shop that supports the community. So like all the proceeds go back out to the community. And they are a few blocks away. So I walk, not a big deal, good exercise. And then I depend on my boyfriend. You know, if we go out of town, we make it a thrifting trip. Like if we go down, you know, Katie had said we're pretty good friends. We met because she lived in Oregon. We go down to Oregon often. So if we go to Oregon, we'll just map out our thrift stores all the way down, pack the van, and then I usually get a big, huge quantity, and then that's what I work off of.
Mm-hmm. So you have to do a lot of like sourcing trips, and you're coming in 6 days. You're going to be here. You're going to be back here in Vegas in 6 days, and we are going to be doing some crazy sourcing next week, and we'll be doing some videos of that. I hope that you can keep up with me, Lorna.
I hope. That's part of my new plan. My new strategy is to do more sourcing trips. And when I was down there last, I had talked to you guys a little bit briefly and said, hey, I want to come down and do a trip. And I didn't think I was going to come this soon. I thought I was going to wait another month, but I just decided I can't wait. I need to like get some good stuff, go somewhere. And I pay for all the gas when we go to Oregon, so might as well pay for a plane ticket. It was the same amount. So yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, depending on where you go. I mean, my sister's coming to visit me for my birthday this month. And depending on the days that you choose, I think her ticket only ended up being like $150. So yeah, so if you think about like having to pay for gas, having to maybe pay for a hotel room, it's like if you're going somewhere where you have friends that you can stay with, which obviously, Lauren, you're going to be staying with us, and you just buy a plane ticket and then just focus on sourcing. Like there are ways that you can get out of your geographical area to get out there and do some real sourcing. And if you feel like you're pretty limited where you are. So Kristine, tell us about what do you have going on in your area?
Sourcing isn't a problem for me. About an hour outside of New York. Northern New Jersey is mostly where I source, and I source up here where I live. And now with the fundraising, with having the clothes come to me, sourcing isn't a problem. My problem is getting it all listed and photographed and on the sites to make money in these big profit piles. So.
Yeah, Theresa has her minions, and it sounds like she's probably jealous of the size. I mean, now you've got like whole like teams of kids out there getting everything for you.
Yeah, yeah, and it works out well. I did do for the first team where I give them 10% after the item sells, less fees, as an added bonus, just because they were my pilot program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would be doing that in the future because it's a lot to keep track of. It's a lot of extra paperwork. Lorna was nice enough one day when I was having a meltdown. I sent her a message and said, "Do you have a minute to talk?" And she was a doll. And I thank you so much for that, Lorna. Just sometimes you need that person who understands your business. And I know you were doing a lot of consigning and, all these thoughts and processes and all the work that goes into listing on eBay and having your own business kind of can get clogged up in there in your brain, and just having someone to sound off and share ideas with is great. So that's why I thank you guys for all of your episodes that you put out there on YouTube and all of the information.
Awesome. And another thing with sourcing for people who live in areas where like, I hear all the time, like, I wish I could get a higher average sale price, but we just don't have anything good where I live, or I live out in the middle of nowhere, or I live in a town of 300 people or something like that. One of the things I would encourage you to do is go onto eBay, do like a super generic search, maybe like in a category that you typically sell in. So for me, like maybe I would go and just do men's jackets, like just a super generic search. And you can actually filter your search by where the seller is located. And you can choose within, a certain amount of distance from you. So let's say you can do 30 miles, 50 miles, and find the sellers that are actually in your area and look at their stores, look at the kind of stuff that they're selling, look at their solds, look at what they have listed. And that'll start to give you an idea of like, okay, if they have, maybe their sale prices are a lot higher than yours. And you'll start to see what kind of stuff might be available or what they're finding and what they're selling in your area. And maybe you find that nobody around you is selling very much, and expand your search a little bit larger and start to like kind of see what the possibilities are for you and sourcing. Because I really, I get that it's more challenging for some people, but it's not impossible. And I'm betting that there are ways that you can do things differently. And like Kristine's amazing, fantastic idea of doing it as like a fundraiser, anybody could do that. And especially like that could be a great solution for somebody who lives in an area where there aren't a lot of thrift stores nearby. That's like a genius way of finding a way to get more inventory, even if you don't have other opportunities to get stuff. So you got to think outside the box. And I think that you'll find a lot more stuff than you think are in your area. So
another way that I tap into a lot of inventory sourcing too is with the local realtors. When you talk to realtors, when they're doing, the survey to assess what someone's house is worth, it starts the conversation. Are you ready to downsize? What's your time frame? So on and so forth. So I have a very best friend who's a top real estate agent and hands out my cards. And she says, listen, if you're not into the garage sale or the auction estate, you could sell your items online. I have someone that will come to your home. You could put together a pile, let her see it. What's the value? You'll have a much wider audience and the availability to have a much higher return on the sale. So just networking is key. Telling people what you do, always having your cards on you. Like Vicky had said in the past YouTube, she brings her cards to all the sales. It's
she
just
does.
Networking.
Yep, she does. Well, and networking is super important. I mean, that's the thing about eBay Open. It's like if you're not sure if you want to go, I think the networking is huge. And what you will learn from other sellers, you can't even put a price on that. You're going to be inspired, whether you're a small seller or a medium-sized seller or a bigger seller. You're going to meet people. They're going to be doing things differently. You're going to realize like, oh, that's a great idea. Like Theresa went, met Kristine at eBay Open, ended up going to the East Coast to help her out with all that inventory and learned a new way to do an inventory system. So it's like, you never know like where that's going to lead you when you meet with other people and or interact with other people, because you can never learn too much. There's always
her
opportunities.
Size Me Up came to life too with that trip.
Oh yeah, yep. Size Me Up.
Little coffee star sticks, and we had dinner with a friend who was able to bring the product to market, and it was like a win-win. And that
Very
was
nice.
2 months after eBay Open. It's the magic of the Open. I mean,
that is awesome.
It's magical.
Yeah, and I think, like, I know for me personally, I'm not always the best at coming up with completely fresh new ideas, but I am one of those people where if somebody else has an idea or tells me about something, I'm really good at building off of that. And so I love like meeting new people and hearing about new things. Or like this whole listing party. The whole reason we even did this listing party is because we were talking about listing parties for some reason, and Theresa happened to mention that she was doing this actual listing party at her Airbnb house in Arizona. And I jumped on that and started thinking like, oh, how could we make this something that the whole group could take part in? And it just kind of turned into this big thing. And now I'm hoping that we continue to do things like this in the future. But again, it's like you have to be interacting with other people in order to kind of come up with those kinds of ideas and like start to grow from there.
Sure.
All right, let's see what's happening, guys. What's happening out there? We've got 41 people with us right now. That is awesome. Let's see. Oh, and Kristine is responsible for the name Size Me Up, Theresa says.
Ah,
So it sounds like, Kristine, you are full of ideas at all times.
there you go. Well, I just have to constantly keep on track. That's, I follow the light a little bit because, I have a lot that goes into my head and, you have to kind of stay focused. One of the things when you said, where do you see yourself in a few years? I live 20 minutes outside the outlet and I don't source at the outlet, with the retail arbitrage and so on and so forth, just because of the progression of how I started and casual to full time and then sourcing, you know, I happen to like the thrift and the find, and I tell a story that I found a Gianni Versace suit for $6, and I sold it for $700. So I had no problem holding on to the inventory. A right buyer would come along, and I like that excitement of that. But as far as with the ideas in the head, I'm hoping to get the Savvy Soho closet where that will run itself and continue to build to win the community, and then keep my Savvy Soho store for the higher end items, the average sale price to be higher on that. So,
yeah, everybody has their own journey because it sounds like you have really big ideas and you're going to be expanding on that. Whereas I've talked about this before, I really just want to keep relatively small. Like I like being on my own. I like doing it myself. I come from, I'm very much a collector. Like I'm one of those people who, when I was a kid, I would collect like Star Trek trading cards, nerdy stuff like that. And then I got really into collecting movies starting when I was about 19. And at one point I had like a, DVD, VHS, Blu-ray collection of like over 3,000 movies. And I would always but it was always like really kind of obscure stuff and like more hard to find kind of weird stuff. So like when I lived in New York for grad school, I actually took, it's like I had to take the subway and then like 2 different trains and maybe a bus to get to Princeton, New Jersey, because there weren't really any good like used movie stores in New York City. But I found one I think it's called like the Record Exchange, the Princeton Record Exchange or something like that. So it took me 3.5 hours to get there. I remember it was in fall, so it was like ridiculously beautiful because all the changing colors and everything. And I went to the store and I ended up spending like $300 because they had so much really cool, like really obscure, out of print, like DVDs and stuff. So I already am like the kind of person that loves to be on the hunt for something interesting. So to me, like when some of these sellers are talking about scaling up to the point where they're selling tons of $10 and $20 items, like that doesn't sound very exciting or fun to me. I like to go out and find the stuff that's hard to find. I love finding something that is super old that maybe somebody wouldn't recognize was something special, like that Stussy sweatshirt that was just like an ugly print and didn't even have Stussy on the front of it. But it sold for $160 because I knew what I was looking at. I paid $3 for it because they priced it super low because it just looked like an ugly old sweater. So for me, like that's what gets me excited, and I have to be like super excited about what I'm selling. So to me, it's not necessarily exciting to get big, but it's exciting to get more, I guess, skilled and going out and finding more really, really cool stuff. So that's what excites me about this work. So I don't know. And then Lorna, you're working on a similar thing of trying to bring your average sale price up. So everybody's got their own journey.
Yep, that's for sure. But I love the hunt too. That's my favorite thing about this. I love shopping, and if I did, shop for myself, my house would be even worse. But so I just love to go out and shop, and what's better than shop and then sell it? You get to have it for a little bit and then sell it off.
You know what's funny though? I actually hate shopping. I hate shopping. I hate like the idea of having to go out and like find myself like a new pair of pants or something like that. Miserable. Never want to do it.
I don't like shopping for myself.
But when it comes to sourcing, that's a totally different story. If I'm out sourcing, if I'm out shopping for inventory, I love it. I have so much fun doing it. But I don't know why, but it's a totally different thing in my brain. So I do like grocery shopping though. I find it very meditative. Oh, and Theresa says she hates shopping, but she hates all shopping and sourcing. All right, so let's see.
So,
what's up, Lorna?
Ladies, have you before this?
Have we what?
Were you listing before this?
Today?
Listing items, yeah. Have you been listing?
I got 5 done.
Good. How about you, Kristine? Did you list
I
anything?
have about 15 in draft that's going to go live as soon as we disconnect here.
Nice.
Awesome.
What about you,
I
Lorna?
got
How
some
many have you
drafts.
done?
I just need photos. None. I have drafts. I just need to get photos. No.
Okay, cool. Hey, Kristine, tell us what that stuffed animal is behind you. What's going on
You
with
want
that?
to see my little friend?
Yeah, what's going on with that guy?
I got him for 50 cents
What?
at a thrift store. The comp, his hair needs to be done here, and I have to show some love. If anyone has any suggestions, please put them in the comments. But what I usually do with the fur on the jackets of the hoods and/or stuffed animals is I take my vacuum and I suck the air, and it kind of pulls the hair straight. But the comp for him is $600 sold recently.
What?
Yep.
What
Look it up. Do you see how big he is?
Is it Lion King or what is it?
Wait, I knocked out my earpiece. What'd you say, love?
Sorry, what is it? Is it Lion King?
It's Lion King. It's Mufasa.
Okay.
See how big he is?
Wow.
That is nuts.
50 cents.
Does he have a tag on him?
Hang on. The tag was cut.
Wow, that is nuts, though.
Isn't that crazy? Look at him. It's his first debut on YouTube. Say hello.
And so, how are you going to ship that guy?
Oh, we'll find a way. I'll probably, actually, maybe put him in a bag, double bag him with the industrial bags. Might be the best way.
V Torn Heart V says a steamer works well and it cleans and it fluffs plush.
Oh, thank you. See, I love this community.
There you go.
Yep. So, I love the hunt. What could I say?
Yeah, it's super fun. I go through phases where it's like right now I'm more focused on thrifting, and then like a few weeks ago I was really into retail arbitrage. So it's like I'll go like a week or so where I want to hit all the Burlingtons and the Ross and those kinds of stores and Marshalls, and then I'll get Jones in for the thrifting again because it is really fun to find that like weird one of a kind items.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So guys, I also wanted to go back to I talked about yesterday how we're going to be giving out some prizes. So I was able to gather up a couple more things. Theresa said that she has she's got a roll of that new 3-inch tape, and she's got some of the postcards, and we're going to gather up a few more things. Victoria actually has very graciously donated a couple more prizes. So I wanted to show you what we have here going on. Now, remember, the way to enter to win prizes, which we're going to be announcing those tomorrow night at our last live show, which will be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night. And so it's going to be, you get an entry for commenting on today's video after it's done broadcasting, commenting on yesterday's video, commenting on yesterday's thread, which yesterday's thread in Boss, that is closed now. I closed the commenting because I wanted to make sure everybody was having their discussion in today's thread. So that's closed now. But if you commented on yesterday's thread, you'll have an entry. And then on today's thread in Boss, the Facebook group. So that's 4 different opportunities to enter to win prizes. And then the last thing is going to be, there will be a prize that's just for the people who participate in the live show tomorrow night in the chat. We'll have another prize. But to show you some of the prizes, so this is what Vicki pulled out for me. So this is an eBay video slots. It is a, what do they call these mugs? The coffee mugs, travel mugs. So it's a travel mug. And the thing about this is there actually was, for a short amount of time, there was an eBay slot machine. They had them here in Vegas, and Vicki says they also had them in Connecticut. So this is from an actual slot machine that was around for a short amount of time. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but this is the old kind of logo. So it was sometime in the last few years. So we have that. So that's pretty cool. And then this, I think this is like super cool. Now the box is kind of beat up, but this is the eBay auction game. So this is this is like a sort of a board game. I've never played it. Vicki's never played it, but she had this in her store. She went ahead and ended the listing so that I could offer this up as a prize. Like I said, the box is a little beat up, but if you are an eBay seller, this is something kind of cool to have in your collection. You want to play the auction. I think Lorna's face looks like she's really lit up, like maybe she wants to play this.
No, we last year at a thing. I got the Video Slots Cup, and Pat won the auction game. So.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna pull out some of these cards. I want to see what the deal is.
I have that in my eBay collection.
Let's see. It looks like you do some sort of bidding, and then there's different things that we got. Toys and beanbag plush fuzzy pink snake, G.I. Joe astronaut. These are really funny.
Yes.
What's that, Lorna?
I said yes.
Okay. Inflatable space alien. And they've got estimated values, actual value. It just looks like a kind of a fun game, but
that's great office decor. Blow them up and put them in frames for your eBay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's true. You go. Those are funny. Anyway, so some lucky winner is going to win this game. So make sure that you comment on both yesterday's video and today's video after the show is done broadcasting live. And then also in today's thread in the Boss Facebook group. If you're not already in the Boss Facebook group, come and join us. Let's see, do we have any other questions going on here? Oh, Theresa's actually played it. She says it's a fun game. So we'll take it from her. It looks like we have a lot of people who are working their jobs as well as listing at the same time. And I don't know how you guys balance it. I'm just grateful that all I have to focus on is doing my eBay.
I drive in my car and I listen to YouTube, all the podcasts. That's what streaming. So
go ahead. Go ahead.
That's how you pick up, tons of information, and it's like-minded business, So if I'm driving in the car, I'll listen to someone's podcast and you hear different ideas and you kind of incorporate it and find your way.
All right. So here's a question. What do you guys listen to or watch while you are working, or do you listen to music or while you're taking pictures or listing or anything like that?
I used to watch a lot of YouTube actually, but now over the last 5-6 months, I limit myself. I watch one YouTube show a day, maybe two because of Katie, but I watch one, and if Katie puts out a video, I watch hers, and that's it. I listen to music or eBay radio, or I just throw on TV as white noise, but I just have to have something on. But I stopped watching a lot of YouTube just because it's too much distraction, because I want to sit and see the item that someone's showing. You know what I mean? So I stopped.
How about you, Kristine? Do you do anything else while you're taking pictures or listing?
I need a 12-step program for YouTube.
We talked about that. Yes, you do.
I do. But you know what? Every once in a while, Katie, you and I had this conversation about the search engine words and that spot in the eBay page. If it wasn't for YouTube of listening to Emma, I would not even known that existed. So shout out to her. But it's just knowledge that you gain along the way. So.
Yeah. I, when it comes to when I'm working, I tend not to listen to or watch anything that's work related, just because like Lorna said, I'm going to end up wanting to watch it, or I'm going to want to pay attention to what they're actually saying. So when I'm taking pictures, a lot of times I'm listening to podcasts, which are completely unrelated to eBay. I have different podcasts I listen to, a lot of news ones and comedy ones and just interview ones. I also watch a lot of TV when I'm I can have a show playing in the background. Like right now I'm catching up on Law and Order SVU. So it's I can have stuff playing. I hear some sellers are I have to have complete silence. And I'm I don't even know how I could work in silence.
I can't.
I like to have something going on. But when it comes to doing research, I have to be honest, I don't really watch a lot of eBay YouTubers for some reason. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the fact that a lot of them are selling things that I'm not necessarily all that interested in, because I'm exclusively men's clothing and especially streetwear and stuff like that. And so I've yet to really find an eBay person that kind of is in my focus area. And so I actually tend to watch more like thrifting shows. There's the guy Paul Cantu who's like really funny and silly. All he does is thrift. He thrifts streetwear, and so he's in Texas, and so he's always putting out videos of like his trips to the thrift store and the stuff he finds, and it's all streetwear type of stuff. And then I also watch. There's a show called The Show by Round Two, and I think I've talked about this before, but Round Two is a store that started in Virginia, and now they're all over the place. But they're all about like the current streetwear as well as vintage streetwear. So I'm able to watch like those kinds of shows and really get a lot of I gain a lot of knowledge and information about like the up and current styles and the stuff that people are really into that I sell. I also follow some subreddits. I don't know if you guys are on Reddit at all, but I follow some subreddits. One's like male fashion advice, and another one is like a streetwear one, and they're just really good for knowing like what the current trends are and what guys are liking to wear and what they're really into. And a lot of the guys like will put up pictures of their outfits for the day. So, you know, you should really always be like looking for new ways to kind of get that information and know what people want. And sometimes just listening or watching other eBay sellers isn't necessarily going to get you that information, because there's a lot of other ways that you can find that stuff out. I also belong to like a few Facebook groups that are just people who thrift streetwear for their own personal use and also to sell. So there's lots of other ways that you can be learning about the stuff that you're doing. That's not just other sellers. So, I don't know. See, Theresa says she listens to John Henry's Open for Business podcast when she's driving or walking. I don't know what that is, but sounds interesting.
Ask her why she's not listening to Hamilton.
Debbie Porter says she listens to her dog snore. Sounds like a good plan.
Me too, Debbie.
Yeah, sometimes we've got our dogs are yapping in the background, but that's about it. They love it when I'm taking pictures, because when I'm taking pictures, that means I'm out in the back room where the backyard is, and so they get to go outside and lounge in the sun while I'm working. So they love that. Or Grizz likes to go out and roll in the dead grass, and then she comes in and has little bits of grass all over. It's ridiculous. Hey, where's your puppy at? Oh, he's locked up, huh?
Yeah, I had to lock him for this. Otherwise, he'd be like all over me.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're coming to a close here with our hour. So it's time to get back to work and get back to listing. I still have 25 I have to do in order to hit my goal. Speaking of storage stuff, I'm actually I had to find somebody who had a Costco membership, because I don't have one. And those bins that I use, Lorna, that you're using the smaller ones, I'm out. I need 4 more. So I'm going later this afternoon to Costco to get more bins so I can put my stuff away. As you know, that's my problem area, is finding a place to put everything. So that's what I'm doing. But
I have a card, so if you need more when I get there.
All right, we'll see. So I've got till about, let's see, today we go till 2 o'clock, but I have until about 4 o'clock that I can be listing to get my 25 other listings done. And Lorna, you didn't have a number. You're just going to try to get as many as you can get done.
Yeah. I'm not focusing on a number today. Just going to list.
You know, and that's not always, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. To me, the most important thing is if you list a few every day, you're better off than you were the day before. Absolutely. And especially if you're listing every day and you're always listing a couple more at least than what you've sold, then you're always growing. So if you can keep on top of that, you're always going to be getting a little bit better as you go. So, yeah. All right. Any last thoughts, ladies?
I love this idea.
I love it. Listing parties. I love listing parties. Do it again.
Well, I'm thinking about I'm thinking maybe actually like just jumping right in and trying to do this every week, not a 3-day thing, but just 1 day a week.
1 day a week.
1 day a week. So Lorna, we might have to talk since you're going to be here next week, but you're also going to want to be working and not just outsourcing the whole time.
Yeah,
so we're
definitely going to be working.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's the thinker. The challenge will be on getting close to eBay Open. We're going to keep a tally of who gets the highest for a certain time period.
Okay.
And the loser has to buy a round of drinks.
What?
Right? Or something.
All right.
Got to do something.
All right. I like the sound of that. We'll have to think about how we're going to do that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you get all your entries in so you can win some sweet prizes, and keep at it today. Get your listing done. Keep involved in the Boss Facebook group thread. Let us know what's up, and let's keep doing good work. And thanks again for coming, and to our guests, thank you guys for being here with us. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. See you guys later.